Mark 2:19. And Jesus said unto them, Can the children of the bridegroom fast while the bridegroom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast, but the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then they shall fast in those days. The ESV says, and Jesus said to them, Can the wedding guests fast while the bridegroom is with them? As long as they have the bridegroom with them, they cannot fast. The days will come when the bridegroom is taken away from them, and then they will fast in that day. With respect to this, Halley's Bible Handbook says, in the metaphor of the bridegroom surrounded by guests, Jesus clearly identifies himself as the bridegroom and his disciples as the wedding guests. This analogy refers to the Jewish wedding customs, which are always joyous celebrations. The guests at the wedding would never consider fasting during the wedding celebration. This account is one of many in which Jesus foretells to his disciples that there will be a time when he will be taken from them, and on that occasion they will be fasting in sorrow. Commentary for the King James Study Bible says, a wedding typically lasted 7 days. Children may refer to wedding guests or the groom's attendants. The bridegroom recalls John the Baptizer's designation of Jesus, John 3:29. Taken away suggests forcible removal and shifts the focus to Jesus' coming death. And if you cannot hear what I'm saying because you're distracted with each other and offended, then the seed is again going to land on the path, and the birds are going to come and take it. So be warned. Saying that again. Taken away suggests forcible removal and shifts the focus to Jesus' coming death. Jesus stated that after he had been violently killed as John the Baptizer had been, Mark 1:14, his disciples would fast as John's disciples were doing now. Same picture. ESV Study Bible Commentary says here, 2:19-20. Jesus refers to himself as the bridegroom, who in the Old Testament was the Lord. Isaiah 62:5, Hosea 2:19-20. While Jesus is present in his mind and in the current moment and situation in which he was teaching, when Jesus was present, they will return to the practice. While Jesus is present with his disciples, they are to rejoice. When he is taken away from them, then they will fast. When he is taken away from them, they will fast. They will return to the practice of fasting to seek the presence of God, but they need not do that when Jesus, the Son of God, see Mark 1:1 and 15:39, is with them. Taken away is an indirect prediction of Jesus' death. See Isaiah 53, verse 8. There is a question here of presence and absence. A Jewish wedding lasted 7 days. The guests did not fast. They feasted. There was a season of feasting. Hands away from your face. Thank you. Now you'll get the moment, the understanding, correct? Thank you. Presence versus absence. present in mind here to understand what is being said and understand and perceive with your spirit, because the Lord is going to use it to bring revelation to you about another situation. These sorts of things. So the reason I read the commentary and read the handbook, eyeballs up here, is because I wanted you to see the value of the commentary and the handbook. These guys know what they're talking about. They have some understanding here. Presence versus absence. Are you present in the moment? And if so, are you feasting when you need to be? When there's an absence, are you capable of fasting? A funeral is actually an occasion for mourning. The mourning can turn into dancing. And a wedding is typically an occasion for feasting and rejoicing and celebration and high impact emotions. So the guests of the bride chamber, that means the wedding guests, those people who are connected with the bride and the groom together. It's not about the bride, it's about the bride and the bridegroom. It's not the bride's day. Contrary to the way the culture paints it, it's not your day, it's not her day, it will not be your day. It will not be your wife's day, it will be y'all's day, because the whole purpose of it is Ephesians 5, to show the picture of Christ in the church. It's actually, if you want to get technical, it's Christ's day. And marriage is the most important of the sacraments. Marriage precedes generation and multiplication and expansion. Marriage is the central of the 7 sacraments. Period. It is the point and the purpose. When the bridegroom is taken from them, then the mourning begins and the seasons for fasting, which are non-optional, begin. So that you can more clearly hear his voice, crucify your flesh as you need to, move into a situation where your focused intensity is intentional, and you're, what do you have for me? What do you have for me? That's what Mark 2:19 is about. What do you have for me? And the Mark 2:19 is also about looking at the two things. Is this a time for feasting, or is this a time for fasting? So, our job is to move between the two as it's appropriate, because there will be times when we do one versus the other. Fasting is a sonship thing. Feasting is a bridal thing. Masculine, feminine. Giving, receiving. Giving, fasting. Receiving, feasting. Isaiah 58, the fasting chapter. It is the fasting chapter in all of the scripture. He talks about when you fast, you deliver your bread to other people, and those other, let me go to it, just so I can have it on hand. 58 says here, is such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a person to humble himself, is it to bow down his head like a reed, and to spread sackcloth for ashes under him. We call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord. Is this not the fast that I chose? To loose the bonds of wickedness. You're giving people stuff. You're giving them freedom. To undo the straps of the yoke. To let the oppressed go free. To break every yoke. Is it not to share your bread, giving with the hungry? And to bring the homeless poor into your house? When you see the naked, to cover him. And not to hide yourself from your own flesh. Those people who are your neighbor. This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, for she was taken out of man. There's clearly a bridal imagery there. Not to hide yourself from your own flesh. Then shall your light break forth like the dawn, and your healing shall spring up speedily. And yes, I know some people on this post and this video are going to stone me because I mentioned 7 sacraments, and they think I've gone off the deep end and converted to Catholicism. I have not. Those are moments of encounter with God. The purpose of marriage is to have an encounter with God. It's not to celebrate the beauty of the bride. The three of you have been sold a lie.
The culture has it way wrong.
So no, I have not gone off the deep end, and yes, I can teach on all 7 of those moments of encounter from a biblical framework. Yeehaw. Once you do those things, because fasting is all about giving and taking care of those people who are bone of your bone and flesh of your flesh to one degree or another, your children, your wife, your husband, your friends, your family. You shall not hide yourself from your own flesh. Then shall your light break forth like the dawn. Your healing shall spring up speedily. Your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call. The Lord will answer. You shall cry. He will say, here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the symbol of bondage, if you take away all those elements of bondage from out of your life, because fasting gets you off of other people and what they're doing wrong to you, and it neutralizes everything and clears things away so the Lord can show up and do what he was made to do. And you can walk in shalom and readiness and peace and wholeness and love and gentleness and kindness and affection and tenderness and all the things that the Lord wants you to walk in. Fasting is like taking an atomic bomb to everything that is wrong in your life, every place that you've got a wrong focus on because you want to get ticked off at this person or that person because of what they're doing wrong to you, and it focuses you on what the Lord wants to do to fix and mend the situation so that you are not hiding yourself from your own flesh, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, your son, your daughter, your wife, your husband. Put your eyeballs up here, young lady. Put your eyeballs up here, young man, and get your hands away from your faces. Focus. Don't look at him if he's causing you a problem. Don't look at her and smirk or get ticked off at the world. I'm trying to teach up here, and I'm trying to explain something to the 3 of y'all so that y'all get it, because what fasting does is it creates an opportunity for you to refocus and reframe so you're not hiding yourself one from another because you're pissed off at the world. Same thing with her. If I'm pissed off with her, what do I need to do? What do I need to do, honey? Seek the Lord and fast, right?
Yep. Examine your heart. Ask the Lord what to do. Have a conversation.
Yes. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of finger and speaking wickedness, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness and your gloom be as the noonday, and the Lord will satisfy you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places, desert, wilderness, the Negev, and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a well-watered garden, because you'll be fully irrigated, because the living water will be flowing through you and irrigating your gardens, making your deserts as a place of blooms. Like a spring of water whose waters do not fail, and your ancient ruins shall be rebuilt. You shall raise up the foundations of many generations, giving. Again, masculine, kingdom building. You shall be called the repairer of the breach and the restorer of streets to dwell in. If you turn back your foot from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight and the holy day of the Lord honorable, if you honor it not giving your own ways or seeking your own pleasure or talking idly, then you shall take delight in the Lord, and I will make you ride on the heights of the earth. I will feed you with the heritage of Jacob, your father. You are my children. Jacob is my father. Jacob is y'all's father as well, by extension, and by all who call out on the Lord in faith. You're Abraham's seed and heirs according to the promise. If point your eyeballs in the direction of your sibling, there will be opportunity for you to give offense.
We're distracted.
Yes. But if you turn your feet, he will cause you to ride on the heights, and he will feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken. Mark 2:19. This is my commentary on it. This is the whole point. This is why fasting can be so radically powerful. Whenever I get to be a jerkbag, you know what my wife does? She fasts. You know what the Lord does? He moves. You know what happens? I get back in right alignment and right focus and off of my stupidity so that I can take care of my wife and kids. What do you think, Isaac? Pretty powerful?
Because I can hear the enemy lying to you guys right now, please know this one thing. Every time I fast, you don't know about it. Okay? I don't always fast in a manner where you guys would know. In fact, I more often fast in a manner nobody knows because it's biblical. If I'm doing a 3-day fast or whatever, obviously you guys are going to notice. But I don't want you thinking, well, I've never seen her fast, because I have a lot. Like last week. Didn't have any idea. So, just nip that lie right in the bud.
This is the thing that also that y'all might not understand. I have to fast for 3 of y'all. I have to fast for myself and my attitude. I've been on a prolonged period of fasting the last several years. I can tell you, I love grapes and I love grape juice. And I love beer, believe it or not. I don't drink more than half a beer with a pizza or a steak on occasion. I'm one of the few people that you probably know that does not have that kind of a thing. But here's the kicker, guys. I'm not interested in my own desire. I'm interested in his desire for the 3 of you and for her and for all of us walking in what we were made to do. That's why I got hammered last Sunday. So, it is appropriate for us to learn fasting, feasting in the context of a wedding, and when we're at a wedding versus a funeral and other situations. Because he has so much to unpack for you. And when you fast and you don't even realize there are certain things where the Lord is moving, then you grow into that revelation. I bless the 3 of your spirits with the revelation of what it is like for you when you fast, so that you can see how the Lord is actually moving and not be lied by the critters and the clowns. And I bless y'all, our online audience, to see exactly what Father is doing when you fast. Be blessed in the name of Yeshua.